Manzilla here, and I got some advice to put my hair down. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that today. Let me know what you think in the comments about this craziness here. I usually tie it up, and so it's out of my way and all that fun stuff. But I figured today we'll give it a try with it down. Let me know what you think. I'm sure you're all here to discuss my hair some more. That's probably why everybody checks in with the SNAPMAP Top 5. But just in case you're kind of curious about all the maps I played this week, well, here we go. I had a lot of fun playing maps this week. I want to say I played something to the tune of 20 to 22 maps. I can't remember the exact count off the top of my head. Most of them were winners. A couple ones I wasn't as crazy about, but as always, what I like to do is go ahead and just study everything I came across, put them in sort of an order, and then let you know which were my 5 favorites. So here they are, without too much further ado. But really, seriously, let me know. What do you think? Is this good? Tell me I'm handsome, please. Getting things started at number 5 this week is Virtuworld Episode 2 by Drakaya. Well, you may also know him as Piece of Pie Software. Has his own YouTube channel, definitely worth checking out. In any case, this is a charming and whimsical map that I really enjoyed. The nuts and bolts of that are you're going to have a checkpoint system to rely on if you do die, and it does have single jump in play, but you do get to wear your cool armor in this one, your cool custom armor. So I was really impressed with the charming and whimsical presentation. It's got this really fun story. It's got some laughs in it. I really enjoyed it for that. The map itself is puzzle driven, so you're going to be solving a lot of puzzles that they definitely are easier to solve puzzles, but they do require a little bit of problem solving, and they do keep the pace going pretty good. So I was really impressed with that. It's got a really fun sense of humor, and I love the way the custom geo is used in this map to deliver sort of a lighthearted experience. It's got a really funny story that I was really into. It's just a good time all around, and a great addition to the entire Virtuworld series, which you really should play start to finish. I had a lot of fun with it. Some things to keep in mind there, as long as I'm giving feedback here, there are some Lost Soul ganks in there that were pretty annoying, and there was more than one of them. They were kind of ganky. There is a section where the jumping section actually felt needlessly annoying because there were some issues with lighting. It's my understanding that may get fixed in a later update, but it felt a little bit annoying, but it wasn't impassable. Again, with the checkpoint system, you're going to get right back into the action and be able to figure things out. And once you figure out the solution, you're going to kind of slap yourself in the forehead and be like, well, geez, why didn't I think of that in the first place? In any case, very charming, very funny, very just all kinds of stuff that I love. It's a great, lighthearted, relaxing way to enjoy Doom, and I loved it for that. So that's Virtuworld Episode 2 V3 by Drakaya. You're going to want to check that out with map ID S7M8L39G. And in number 4 position this week is Darkest Heart by Sonnenbloom. This one was a pleasant surprise for me here. So first of all, this permadeath is enabled, but there's an interesting reason for that comes up towards the end of the map. We'll discuss that in a moment. Other than that, though, no major variants to speak of. It is some excellent storytelling going on here. I got a really strong Spec Ops The Line vibe from the story, which is really interesting in a Doom game. That's a really fascinating thing for someone to do with a map, is to tell a story similar to that. Now, it kept that vision very well throughout the map, which actually drove the purpose of the final round, which is a survival round that actually has a purpose and a story behind it. I was really fascinated by the way that the story elements played into why there's a survival round at the end. Furthermore, that survival round actually makes this a really interesting map for scoreboard and replay value. And it takes this map that's already a really good story-driven map and gives it this extra added layer where you might want to go back and try to get to the top of the scoreboard as well. Now, it also has some interesting custom geo segments that are modeled off of sort of the classic Doom look, and it uses a mix of classic and modern. And one of the things that made this super effective is like when you get to sort of the heart of the second act, the end of the second act, and you see like the horrors of what you did. That sharp contrast really gets sold extra well, and I was really impressed with that. Some of the things I was a little down on in this one was that the story elements may interfere with that replay value just a little, only because it is a sort of a dark, dense story. It's a little heavy in places, and it can drag you down a little bit to want to replay it a couple times. And there was also a section where I felt like the wrong skybox was being used for the effect that was trying to be done. But all of these things are very easy to look past, when you're playing this map. And I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I will just say that I was really, truly impressed with the storytelling going on in this map. So that's Darkest Heart by Sonnenbloom, and if you want to check that out and experience some dark, serious storytelling in Doom, this is the way to do that, is to go ahead and plug TENMA2Z3 into your map search. Coming in at number 3 this week is Fatal Silence by JMX5000. Now this is a very good, very effective horror experience. It's very challenging here. It's got a lot of variants that are going to help sell that challenge. Now it is a survival-based horror experience, which means you're working with slower speed. There is a sprint button to help you out, and there is single jump as well. Now the Praetor suit is in use here, but there's no risk, and that's for a couple of reasons. One, the recent patch actually got rid of the Praetor suit bug finally, but secondly, JMX5000 was very careful to make sure that he wasn't giving you any weapons that could trigger the Praetor suit bug effect, which is good because this is a permadeath map, so you're gonna, if you die, that's it, Now it's a very good horror experience. It uses a sort of ammo conservation based combat to add to the challenge there, and you are a little underpowered, but I mean that all serves that excellent horror-based story, and all the custom mechanics that are built into this map serve the narrative and the story very well. There was also some really effective use of cutscene cameras. I was really happy to see that, and some really great Easter eggs. Keep an eye open for those, and I do love seeing those references. It's a very very community-minded thing to do, and I love seeing it. Now, some things I did run into. There was a section where I saw some Blinky Geo. There was also a section that can be Billy goated up to allow you to see past the sets into the grid room floor. So you want to be very careful because, again, permadeath map. So if you do get caught outside the set, you're going to want to, you're going to have to start over. But the other thing to keep in mind is the combat is definitely very un-Doom-like, which is to be expected. I mean, this map actually feels more like you're playing almost like a Resident Evil style game or something like that. Which it's all very effective. It all adds to that horror ambiance, and that which is it's served by the set dressing, the great lighting design, the great audio design. There's so many great things to say about this map. It does its job very well, and you really should check it out. So that's Fatal Silence by JMX5000. You're going to want to search for that using 9TBEDMSR. At number 2 this week, we've got Sign of Evil by Pig Dog. This map is really a lot of fun. What it is it's a gorgeous, gorgeous custom geo reimagining of some of the maps you might remember from Doom 2, including the classic E1M1. Now, what's really cool about these maps, or about this particular map, is that it uses that new style of making things look. I mean, it isn't just like sort of a straight copy and paste of the layouts from those classic Doom 2 maps. It actually provides some context and some new shape and form, and really does modernize the look and feel of those classic layouts. And furthermore, that new layout, that new design, adds some cool context to the new way that mobs move. One of the problems I've always had with remakes of original Doom maps is that it doesn't always take into account the fact that mobs have different behaviors and different attacks in the newer version of Doom. For instance, the exploding bullet that the soldiers have, the fact that imps can climb on walls, things of that nature. This map really does help give some context to that. However, it does have some of that old school sensibility in there, and that you're going to find that there's no glory kills, and it does have a checkpoint system, which is pretty cool. Now, the other thing that's really cool here is it does have infinitely refilling ammo and health stations, which is really cool. It's helpful because the combat is absolutely punishing. And another thing I like that's been added to the Pig Dog formula here is a great use of world text to kind of keep you informed about the new systems and what's going on. One thing I do have to ding about this, and it's kind of a major one if I'm being honest, is that the infinitely refilling health and ammo stations do provide an infinite chain chainsaw opportunity for the last two combats, and that can really break those last combats and make them a little bit easier than they probably should be. And also there is some problems with the geo navigation. You know, there's some places where the player can have some unexpected behavior when they're moving, and there is some mob derp because of elevated geo. But you know what? All of that's very easy to see past when you're playing through this map, because it is gorgeous looking. You have to see it to believe it, and playing it is just fast and furious and awesome. So you go ahead and check this one out. That's Sign of Evil by Pig Dog, map ID U8QR3L2S. Before I reveal this week's number one map, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other maps I upvoted this week, starting with Aliens by J.R. Crash. Now, this is a really fun sort of reinterpretation of the famous 80s movie. It's got some great fun combat, good hordes. I love the hordes in this one. Effective set dressing, excellent custom geo builds, including a dropship and a power loader, good sound design, and horror elements. Loved it. Another map I upvoted this week was Umbral Fear by Begotten Apathy. It's a great use of horror elements, has a really fun build-up near the end. It manages to subvert that Spectres Dark and Smoke thing that I really don't like, and it does it really well, actually. And it all around has just some really good use of smoke effects. Really enjoyed this. Another map I upvoted this week was Seek and Destroy Squad V0.33 by Matori551. Features multiple endings, fun combat, some clever secrets, a really fast-paced horde-style combat system, and excellent quirky personality and presentation. Another upvote this week was Doom RPG 3 by Daniel Ronca 716. Features an experience-based progression system that's really not too bad at all. Has a difficulty progression that's fair, and it eases the player into hectic combat. And I really enjoy the control you have over the demon mode. It's got some really neat custom systems in it that you should really check out. Another upvote this week was Quake, the Slipgate Complex by Eternal Dahaka. It has a cleverly engineered way of the way it was built into a single grid room to ensure that everything functions and navigates accurately. It's got some really good firefight combat, and it's a really nice looking reinterpretation of the classic E1M1 from Quake. Another map I upvoted this week was OLDTOWN by Gunja Crew. Features a money-based system for upgrades, infinite ammo stations, and special abilities, and some fantastic custom geo that you just have to see to believe it. It really has a great attention to detail, and some really great tools at your disposal for dealing with nigh infinite hordes. Love it. Another map I upvoted this week was E4M2 Perfect Hatred by Simply Delicious. Has some tough as nails combat. It's a fantastic looking remake of a classic Doom 2 board, including the fact that it puts you in the single jump and the Praetor suit, which again, you know, it's fixed now, so that's awesome. Another map I upvoted this week was Who Done It, a murder mystery by Hold Your Fire. Has really fun and humorous elements in it, very well-dressed sets, good use of props and geo, and some decently challenging combat. Also has a really cool notebook mechanic that you should really check out. Another upvote this week was Trapped on Mars 2.0 by Banana321. It's actually very easy to navigate this one. Great player direction. Love the set dressing in this one. Fun loadout, fun and hectic combat, and it does make the player feel very powerful because there's some modifications to the damage and health there. There's also this section with an infinite horde that you really have to check out. It's a lot of fun. And finally, Mercenary Episode 2 by Dark Sniper is a map that I upvoted this week as well. Has some excellent atmosphere, a great loadout, and it's got a funny and well-told story with lots of Easter eggs for the SNAPMAP community. I really think you're going to enjoy this for the combat and the story combined. Well, those are my upvotes this week. You can check out all the plays on my Twitch page there under the videos section, and I think you'll have a lot of fun watching those. But hey, enough about that. Let's go ahead and check out this week's number one. Top of the charts at number one this week is Doomed Chapter 2 by Vlad Kablitsky 4. And this map blew me away in so many ways. And it was a week of great maps, and this one just barely managed to eke it out, but it got into the top spot. For starters, let's get the nuts and bolts out of the way. You will have a live system, and it's actually kind of a punishing live system because you only live twice. We are following James Bond rules here. But other than that, there's no major variants you need to be aware of. What you do need to be aware of is that it has some astounding custom custom geo and prop work going on, including one section that has a key guardian creature, sort of like a three-headed dragon. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Has to be seen to be believed. The rest of the map just looks fantastic with some great custom geo and prop work going on. And the combat is fantastic and challenging. It's going to keep you on your toes the entire time. It's also very well balanced. I mean, there's nothing inherently unfair about anything that's going on there. It is very challenging, though, and you better be prepared to bring your A game because this map demands it. Now, there's also, some really great world building going on here. This is part of an entire series that Vlad Kablitsky has made, an entire campaign, the Doomed campaign, and this continues the Doomed campaign's tradition of fantastic world building and just mind-blowing sets and props. You're going to see throughout the entire series that he's just building these really cool things, and this is really no exception here. You need to check this out for yourself, absolutely. Now, some things you do need to be aware of here, and obviously I do have to be critical every time. There is one section where I ran into a gank that involves some world text that pops up when you're about to grab a power-up. So if you're trying to grab that during combat, it's going to mess with you. Another thing I need to bring up is, and why am I even pretending here? There's really nothing else I can bring up here. Like, that is like the only thing that I can ding about this. It was really just a fantastic, awesome combat experience, a visual spectacle to behold, and just a map that you have to check out. So that's why you're going to need to go to your map ID search and plug in 45TCGCZZ and check out Doom Chapter 2 for yourself by Vlad Kablitsky. And by the way, Vlad Kablitsky, congratulations, you are my #1 snap map for this week. And that's the top 5 for this week. Those were my 5 favorites and all the maps I upvoted and all that fun stuff. You saw it. You know what it's all about. So in any case, thank you very much for watching it. A couple quick things to get out of the way. If you love what's going on here, you're going to love the fact that I'm doing more and more stuff as well on the side. Of course, your input is always helpful. So if you're helping me out here, please take a look at patreon.com/zmanzilla. You'll be happy to know, by the way, that Best of the Worst series for my patrons is up and running. So if you want to get in on that and check it out, go ahead and check out patreon.com/zmanzilla to see how you can help me out, and in turn, the sort of the ways I say thank you when you do. And also, if you're interested in watching me play these maps live, you can check me out on Twitch. My usual play schedule is to start things out around 11 a.m. Pacific. That's 2 p.m. Eastern, and I'm not sure what that is going to be everywhere. I don't think I can list every time zone, but in any case, that's that's where you can watch me play these live. You can also check me out over on Twitter if you haven't already. And of course, the other thing, if you want to buy my art or just take a look at what I'm selling and that sort of thing, you can check me out at zazzle.com/drawnbutter. Those are all ways that you can help out the channel and sort of keep this whole dream alive, as it were. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you, goodbye, and see you next week. Seriously, do I look pretty or not? Please, I gotta know.